Okay, there we go. So we want to welcome everybody to the class tonight. And as usual, it's a good idea to kind of start out by having people introduce how they found out about the class. But um, I don't know, maybe we need to let Scott kind of go and share his piece of good news now, or maybe in 5 minutes when more people are here. What's your thought?
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, most people were, I guess we have some new people jumped in. I just had my daughter-in-law, my son and daughter-in-law just had my baby granddaughter on Thursday morning. So I'm a grandpa.
He doesn't look old enough to be a grandpa, but congratulations to you, Scott.
Thank you. We're excited.
All right.
And also a
So,
reminder about the walk on Saturday, the Eugene Plant-Based Provider Walk at 11 o'clock this coming Saturday morning. It's going to be sunny and in the 50s, but it's going to get down to 31 at night. So definitely come bundled up with some layers so you can peel layers off because the sun should be out. But 11 o'clock at the South Eugene High School track, and information's in the class newsletter with the link to the upcoming events page for Eugene Plant-Based Providers, or you can just go directly to the EugenePlantBasedProviders.com website and look up under upcoming events for the location. And if you're not sure how to get to the South Eugene High School track, but love to see some of you guys out there. It's the last one of the season. We do them from May through October, and so that's 6 month time frame. And so hope to
we,
see you there.
we want to mention that this walk is for all abilities. There are some people who like to run on the track and can do that. There are some people who like to walk at a faster pace, a medium, and a very slow pace. So, whatever works for you, uh, you'll find someone to walk with.
Yeah, we've even had people with walkers show up, so it's okay. And we'll have someone will stay back with whatever pace people go. So you can have somebody to talk to.
So this week I see it looks like at least a couple new names, maybe more. Uh, Perhaps you're really more focused on kidney issues, and that's why you showed up at this class. If you've never been to this class before, we're kind of curious as to how you found out about the class. Like, was it your doctor? Was it Peace Health advertisement? Was it a word of mouth from one of the other class members? So if this is sort of one of your first times and you haven't shared that with the group, we'd love to hear from you. All you need to do is just look down at the bottom of your screen and there's a little microphone. You can unmute yourself and or you can raise your hand and I'll call on you, whatever you choose to do. Um, I'm kind of looking around the room to see if there is anybody. I see I have a couple screens I need to flip between, so I can't see everybody. Um, so everybody's been here before, or everybody's too shy to say hello. Yeah, okay, good. Susan.
I'm Susie. I found out about this from a friend who gets the text messages about the meetings, and I've got chronic kidney disease just now diagnosed, so I'm trying to learn how to totally change my diet.
Well, welcome. We're happy to have you. This is a good class for you to start with. We have some a couple introductory classes on the website that you might want to review at some point. And if you need some extra help, if you get like, I'm not sure about this or get confused, then we have help that costs nothing. You can either send us an email or we can hook you up with a medical student who can talk with you about this and really help guide you. You know, if you're going to learn to play tennis or play the piano or even learn a foreign language, it's good to have a coach. And even though you may be able to do this on your own completely, you'll probably do it a lot faster and probably have a better chance of being successful with having some additional input. But hopefully these classes will stimulate you to get interested and say, you know, this might really work for me. And the cost is right,
Yeah,
right?
correct.
All right, well, welcome. Thanks,
Thank you.
Sharon. Anybody else care to speak up? Just unmute or raise your hand. Okay. All right, well, maybe everybody has been here before. So let's go on. If you're not new to the class, maybe you have a question, or maybe you want to share something with the people in this class about, you know, I'm struggling with this, or hey, I had a really good success with that. So any thoughts from anybody at this moment in time?
I'll just mention at this at the onset, just to get people excited. I've had a patient. It's been a while ago now, but the most extreme example I had was a patient with a what's called a glomerular filtration rate (GFR) of 18, which normal is over 60. 60 up into the 90s is what's normal for your kidney function. And patient was all the way down at 18. And usually when you get down around 15, between 15 and 20, you go on dialysis. So really extreme. And I had a patient that was already on his way to the nephrologist, the kidney doctor, and he started seeing me, and I got him on a whole food plant-based diet. And so by the time he finally got in to see the nephrologist, it was 6 months later, and his GFR had gone from 18 all the way up to 44. So by the time he went to see the nephrologist is like, well, what are you doing here? I don't need to see you. You're doing okay. So that was a particular story I had about a patient. And he also, got off some of his medications, blood pressure lowered, got his diabetes reversed in remission, and did much better. So that's just the example I have of that one patient in particular.
And I've had 3 patients who have gone from GFRs in the 40s to above 60. Those patients all chose to change what they're eating to a whole food plant-based diet. And they were really thrilled when they saw that they could stop the progression of their kidney disease by changing their diet. We have Trouty and Dorothea. Let's start with Trouty and then we'll go to Dorothea. You're unmuted, Trouty.
I didn't raise my hand.
Oh, okay. Your microphone, you could just mute it then if you'd like.
Okay.
And then we won't bug you. Okay, Dorothea.
Excuse me. Yeah, I just wanted to say, I don't know what my numbers were, but that I had, I don't know, stage 2, stage 3 kidney disease. And after going on this whole food plant-based, it was reversed. My kidney disease was reversed.
So hopefully that will be, thank you for sharing that, Dorothea. Hopefully that will be inspiring to those of you who are hoping to find some answers to help you. Go ahead, Trouty.
Yeah, I have something very similar. I had kidney disease 3B, and over time I got on the whole plant-based diet, and my doctor just told me I don't have it anymore. So maybe he got it wrong, I don't know, but so I keep sticking to it mostly. And so, yeah, that seems to work best for me. So that's my take on it.
Well, thanks for sharing that, Trotty. Okay, anyone else have a comment or want to share anything? We're open for questions. And there may be a couple new people I see here, like Chase and Walt. And if you care to share how you found out about the classes, if you don't, it's okay too. But it seems like they're kind of new names to me. And so let's see. So we're going to continue on. I'll play a video. You'll have time to think about it if you want to share anything. We'll be back and forth between sharing the screen and giving you an opportunity. These classes are for you to ask questions, to, find out what the science actually shows and let you make a decision as to whether you wish to change what you choose to eat in this world. So let's start out with how not to die from kidney disease would probably be a good way to start. And it's a video from Michael Greger. It's available to all of you on nutritionfacts.org. It's for free, or you can go to YouTube, and all these you will find for free. But let's start with the how not to die from kidney disease. First step.
Kidney failure may be both prevented and treated with a plant-based diet, and no wonder. Kidneys are highly vascular organs. Harvard researchers found 3 significant dietary risk factors for declining kidney function: animal protein, animal fat, and cholesterol. Animal fat can alter the actual structure of our kidneys, based on studies like this, showing plugs of fat literally clogging up the works in autopsied human kidneys. And the animal protein can have a profound effect on normal kidney function, inducing what's called hyperfiltration, increasing the workload of the kidney, but not plant protein. Eat a meal of tuna fish, and you can see the increased pressure on the kidneys go up within 1, 2, 3 hours after the meal in both non-diabetics and diabetics. So we're not talking, adverse effects decades down the road, but literally within hours of it going into our mouth. Now, if instead of having a tuna salad sandwich, though, you had a tofu salad sandwich with the exact same amount of protein, what happens? No effect. Dealing with plant protein is no problem. Why does animal protein cause the overload reaction but not plant protein? It appears to be due to the inflammation triggered by the consumption of animal products. How do we know that? Because if you give a powerful anti-inflammatory drug along with that tuna fish, you can abolish the hyperfiltration protein leakage response to meat ingestion. Then there's the acid load. Animal foods, meat, eggs, and dairy, induce the formation of acid within the kidneys, which may lead to tubular toxicity, damage to the tiny, delicate urine-making tubes in the kidney. Animal foods tend to be acid-forming, especially fish, which is the worst, and pork and poultry, whereas plant foods tend to be relatively neutral or actually alkaline, base-forming to counteract the acid. So the key to halting the progression of chronic kidney disease might be in the produce market rather than the pharmacy. No wonder plant-based diets have been used to treat kidney disease for decades. Here's protein leakage on the conventional low-sodium diet, which is what physicians would typically put someone with declining kidney function on, switched to a supplemented vegan diet, then back to conventional, plant-based. Conventional, plant-based, turning on and off kidney dysfunction like a light switch based on what was going into their mouths.
So you might be asking yourself, is that even possible to turn off inflammation by what you choose to eat, whether it's animal products or whether it's plant products? Does that make sense to you? I know your culture may say you need to have animal products to get enough protein. We try to bust that myth in these classes that there is absolutely no requirement for any animal product in a human diet. That's a hard concept, a hard sell for a number of people who are kind of wedded to eating what they like to keep eating. But when you look at the facts and you see what an impact it has on transitioning your diet from the standard American foods to a plant-based diet, it may help you get on the track to improve your health. Go ahead, Marcia.
When I began my journey, my hand swelled up. My grandmother, my mother, my father all had arthritis, and I knew this was arthritis. I mean, it was 3 times its size. I couldn't hold anything, I couldn't do anything. And I knew enough to ask what causes inflammation in the body. So I asked that question on Google, and I think I had several things, but I went to Neil Bernard, and he said, don't eat, well, long story, don't eat meat, dairy, or oil. And I thought, what are you supposed to eat? You know, gosh. But I got his book, The Starter Vegan Cookbook, and that helped me on my journey. And now I have an array of cookbooks, and I eat whole food, plant-based. I have absolutely no problems. Arthritis is gone, and I love being healthy at 75.
I love that story.
Yay.
Thank you for sharing that. Anyone
And one-
else? Samson,
and once-
Marcia.
What was the name of her cookbook she mentioned?
It's gosh, let me go get it and I'll be right back, okay? Hang on.
Okay.
Okay.
Hearing about the protein, one thing that the kidney doctors, the nephrologists will tell their patients that are in kidney failure is to eat a low protein diet. They actually say that. So even though they have no nutrition education, they've seen enough of the science to know that tidbit. But really what they're saying when they don't know that they're saying this, but when they're saying eat a low protein diet, what that really means to us in the nutrition field is it's a normal protein diet, an adequate protein diet. And because everybody in America is getting, almost twice as much protein as they actually need. And so a low protein diet is really just a normal protein diet. But then the thing that's even more important than cutting down the protein is actually switching from animal protein to plant protein. Because as you saw the video there, Dr. Greger, is the plant protein does not seem to cause any harm to the kidneys. It's the animal protein that does. So it's probably even more important to switch from animal protein to plant protein rather than the actual number of grams of protein you're getting in a day. But at the same time, if you're switching to a more plant-centered diet, you're still going to get adequate protein. It's just not going to be the twice the amount that you really actually need per the RDA, and you're getting an actual adequate, appropriate amount of protein. But getting it from a plant source is the most important concept there.
So some of you may be thinking, well, wait a second. Isn't protein protein? There's a number of different amino acids. And as it turns out, I think there's 22 amino acids, somewhere in that ballpark range. And animals eat the amino acids and they can form protein. Like, a cow eats the grass and they form amino acids. And there's a higher percentage of amino acids with sulfur in them, which tends to be potentially the problematic amino acids. Whereas if you're eating the plants by yourself, you don't tend to get as many of the amino acids that tend to be problematic. Just in case you were thinking, why should animal protein be different than the protein you get from plants? Yes, Trouty. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
why is fish the highest in the inflammation in comparison to meat and pork and anything else?
Well, there's a lot of oil in fish. I don't know that it is more inflammatory or not, but it could be
It's
related. If
in the
if you if you see some chart that shows that, it may be related to the oil. That tends to be inflammatory. Scott, do you have any thoughts on
Well,
that?
well, yeah, it's not higher in it's not a higher inflammatory food than other animal products. It's just it actually has some anti-inflammatory fats in it, so it probably that's why it makes it a little bit less of a problem than some of the other animal-based proteins, but or foods. We should really be talking in food rather than just a protein is just a macronutrient, so that's just one component. But in that video, he was just showing tuna fish was high because it was being compared to plants, and so it's gonna be really high compared to plant protein foods. And so I don't know if that's what you were talking about in the video, but overall, fish is not higher in inflammation than something like bacon or sausage or red meat or processed meat, if that's what you're referring to.
Okay, thank you.
Great. All right. We're going to go back to, I'm going to go back to the gallery view and see if there's anybody who has anything that they would like to share. Any questions? Some of you who may have come in a little later. We're up to almost 40 people, 38 people. We started with about 21, so some of you may be new to the class. If you are, we're kind of curious how you found out about the classes, or you may just have something you want to share that's happened that you're struggling with or that is going well for you. I'm going to scan around the workroom. Jean.
Thank you. Yes. I've been on a Whole Foods plant-based diet since beginning of COVID. So that's like 3.5 years. And during that time, my blood markers came down, which were really good. I mean, into good regions, except for two things. But I lost 30 pounds out of the deal, which, I didn't know about until my doctor told me. But so what I found out was that in 2019, my EGFR was, in the 60s someplace, 60s, 70s. But then when I went on a Whole Foods plant-based diet, 2 years and then 3 years later, my EGFR went way down. On a Whole Foods plant-based diet, went down into the low 50s. And so that, and also I somehow lost the big platelets in my blood. So I don't know if they're related, but I thought that by eating a Whole Foods plant-based diet, the numbers for EGFR would go up. But in my case, they went down. And so I don't know whether it's the genetic component, being that my paternal grandfather died of kidney disease when my father was a boy of 5 years old, or when 25 years ago I had my kidneys tested and I could see on a monitor of a particular test, maybe it had dye in it, I don't know, but in any case, I could actually see my kidneys in live action, and one of them worked great, drip, drip, drip. The other one was super slow, drip, drip. You get the idea. So I wonder if maybe my good kidney was overcompensating, and now it probably just pooped out. And so I have two slow kidneys, and that is why my numbers went down even while I was on a Whole Foods plant-based diet. What do you say?
I've never seen anybody who's lowered the kidney function like that. Every person that I've interacted with has had improvement in their renal function. Scott, what's your experience?
Yeah, I've never seen anyone get worse, but there are so many things that can influence kidney function. So, merely just, if you have high blood pressure, medications you might be taking, especially like ibuprofen. When you get sick with an illness like a virus or, other chemicals you might be exposed to. There's high salt, eating some processed foods that have a lot of salt in them can affect kidney function. And so it's, plus we see kidney function go up and down from one blood test to another. Like you can have a GFR of 50, and then a week later it's 65. So it can really fluctuate a lot. So there are so many factors. Of course, there's also autoimmune diseases that can affect the kidneys. So there's so many factors in the environment rather than just diet that can affect kidney function. So it would take your medical provider to kind of evaluate your entire life and your lifestyle and everything that you've been come into contact with in the environment to kind of tease out what other factors could be influencing it.
So is there a genetic component as well, or no?
Well, as far as autoimmune, like there's IgA nephropathy, and there's all kinds of other types of kidney injuries. There's actually like nephrotic syndrome, nephritic syndrome. There's basically like the artery that feeds the kidney can get kinked off, renal artery stenosis that can affect it. But you answered your question. Yes, there are genetic factors, but yeah, it would just be a really complex kind of workup to figure out why it went down. But even in the 50s isn't all that bad. That's I don't know how old you are, but that's not a terrible number. But we like it to be above 60 ideally. But
and what about big platelets not existing in my blood currently? Is that somehow related to the kidney issue, or is that something totally separate?
It's more red blood cells that are affected by the kidneys, but you would definitely want to see your doctor and or a hematologist to figure out if your platelet count is continuing to go down. Then you want to definitely be followed by a medical provider for that, because there's a lot of reasons for that, bone marrow things and whatnot.
I lost 30 pounds. That was great. I'm also losing my hair. I don't like that so much. It's getting shorter, and I don't do anything to make it shorter. So I don't know. Maybe they're related. Maybe it's just getting older. Who knows? But thank you for your input.
So if you're losing your hair, you make sure your thyroid function is maximized, that you're following that. Sometimes you might not get enough diet, even though you're whole food, plant-based diet. If you're not adding salt, you may not be getting enough iodine. So check your thyroid function out. The other thing, have you been around? Go ahead, Scott.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, number one cause of hair loss is stress, though. Well documented.
Yeah, and that's a good point. The other thing is,
Well, I'm sorry, what was that Scott said?
Stress is the number one cause of hair loss.
What is it?
Stress. STRESS.
Okay. The other thing is, Gene, have you been around aspirin, NSAIDs, Advil, ibuprofen, any of those kind of medicines?
Nothing like that. I don't take medication if I can get away with it. Not even pain relievers.
Okay. Well, that is kind of unusual, for sure. I guess it's something you're just going to have to kind of follow and sort out over time. Like Scott says, do you have a doctor that you're following with?
Yeah, I saw him a few weeks ago. And so I told him about the test I took about 25 years ago. So he had me take a kidney ultrasound, and it didn't answer any questions that I had about this. But it did tell me I had no kidney stones. Well, of course I have no kidney stones.
Yeah.
I've been on a whole foods plant-based diet. I wouldn't
Yeah.
have any kidney stones. And the measurements, but what I was thinking about was, what about retaking the test I had 25 years ago? But I don't know what it was. What kind of test can you see on a monitor and live as to what your kidneys are doing? Is it with a particular dye? And if so, what's the name of this test? So I could tell my doctor. That's what I need to see.
There
What is
are
it? Stump the doctors?
Yeah, this is, I'm trying to think of a name when you inject dye.
Well, there's magnetic resonance angiogram, MRA, but I don't know if they had that 25 years
They
ago.
didn't have that. This is just an IVP, an intravenous pyelogram is what it was called in the old days. And so you take pictures of your kidney. I don't ever remember seeing that you could see drip, 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 though, because I
did see that.
Well, maybe I personally have never seen it. The dye goes into your kidneys, and you can take intermittent pictures, and it it may appear like a sequence of films that it looks like it's dripping, but I don't know if that were, I can't recall any technology back in days past that you'd be able to actually see that.
Okay, thank you.
So interesting comments, and we'll do some more thinking on it and let our, see if we come up with something over time. Anybody else have any thoughts or like to contribute anything to the discussion? We're game. We're going to go back to the gallery and see if there are any hands that show up. All right. If we don't see any hands that show up, we're going to go to kind of the next video. And we're going to share this. And X out. Which type of protein better for our kidneys? I think you already know the answer to this, but let's see what Prager has to say.
Between 1990 and 2010, some of our leading causes of death and disability haven't changed. Heart disease was the leading cause of loss of life and health then, and remains the leading cause today. Some things got better, like HIV/AIDS, but others got worse, like chronic kidney disease, a doubling in the tens of thousands of deaths and the hundreds of thousands whose kidneys fail completely, requiring kidney transplants or lifelong dialysis. And about 1 in 8 of us now have chronic kidney disease, whether we know it or not, and most of those with chronic kidney disease don't know it. About 3/4 of the millions affected are unaware their kidneys are starting to fail, which is particularly worrisome given that early identification provides an opportunity to slow the progression and alter the course of disease. So what can we do about it? The Western-style diet is a major risk factor for impaired kidney function and chronic kidney disease, also known as the meat-sweet diet or standard American diet, causing an impairment of kidney blood flow, inflammation, and subsequent leakage of protein in the urine, and a rapid decrease in kidney function. Table sugar and high fructose corn syrup is associated with increased blood pressure and uric acid levels that can both damage the kidney, and saturated fat, trans fat, and cholesterol found in animal fat and junk food negatively impact kidney function as well. The consumption of animal fat can actually alter the structure of the kidney, and the animal protein can deliver an acid load to the kidneys, increase ammonia production, and damage the sensitive kidney cells. That's why restricting protein intake is recommended for preventing kidney function decline, though it may be animal protein in particular, not just protein in general, so the source of the protein, plant versus animal, may be more important than the amount regarding adverse health consequences. Animal protein intake has a profound effect on normal human kidney function, inducing what's called hyperfiltration, increasing the workload of the kidney. This may help explain why our kidneys fail so often. Unlimited intake of protein-rich foods, now generally regarded as normal, may be responsible for dramatic differences in kidney function between modern human beings and their remote predecessors, who hunted and scavenged for meat here and there. Sustained, rather than intermittent excesses of protein, requires us to call on our kidney reserves continuously, causing a kind of unrelenting stress on our kidneys that can predispose even healthy people to progressive kidney scarring and deterioration of kidney function. It's like always revving our engine into the red. On the other hand, administration of an equal quantity of vegetable protein does not appear to have the same effects. Eating meat, for example, increases the workload on the kidneys within hours of consumption, but apparently taking care of plant protein appears to be a cinch. This was done with beef, but any animal protein will do. Eat a meal of tuna fish, and you can see the increased pressure on the kidneys go up, again, within just hours, for both non-diabetics with normal kidneys and diabetics with normal kidneys. If instead of having a tuna salad sandwich, you had a tofu salad sandwich with the same amount of protein, no effect. And same thing happens with eggs and dairy protein, both in people with normal and diseased kidneys. Short-term studies have indicated that substituting plant proteins like soy for animal protein is associated with less hyperfiltration and protein leakage, therefore slowing deterioration of kidney function. However, the long-term effect has not been adequately studied until this study was published in 2014. A 6-month, double-blind, randomized, placebo-controlled trial, soy versus dairy protein, and the consumption of whole soy tended to preserve renal function and kidney function, compared with milk in individuals with lowered renal function. Similar results were reported in diabetics. Even just giving isolated soy protein appeared to make things better compared to dairy protein, which made things worse. Once one's kidneys have deteriorated to the point where they're actively losing protein in the urine, a plant-based diet may help turn it off and on like a light switch. Here's protein leakage on a standard low-sodium diet switched to a supplemented vegan diet: low sodium, vegan, low sodium, vegan. What is going on? Why does animal protein cause that overload reaction, but not plant protein? It appears to be an inflammatory response triggered by the animal protein. We know this because administration of a powerful anti-inflammatory drug abolishes the hyperfiltration, protein leakage response to meat ingestion. Here's the typical kidney stress response to a meat meal, but here's with the anti-inflammatory drug on board, confirming the role of inflammation in the impact of animal protein on our kidneys.
So that's a little bit of information, which is not too harmful, I don't think, because of the speed at which Gregor speaks. It's hard to get it all in on the first take. So these two videos kind of go together, and we're going to do one more of preventing kidney failure through diet and see what he has to say about that.
Our kidneys are highly vascular organs. That's why they look so red inside. After all, our 2 little kidneys have to filter through our entire blood supply, and as such, receive about 20% of our cardiac output every time our heart contracts. And so if the standard American diet is so toxic to the blood vessels in our heart, brain, and pelvis, leading to heart attack, stroke, and sexual dysfunction, what might it be doing to our kidneys? Researchers at Harvard recently put that question to the test. Thousands of women and their diets and their kidney function were followed for a decade. What they're looking for is the presence of protein in the urine, known as microalbuminuria. There's not supposed to be any protein in our urine. I mean, the whole point of our kidneys is to keep the good stuff in our blood and get rid of the bad. It's supposed to hold on to protein, and if it doesn't, that's a sign our kidneys are starting to fail. There were 3 significant risk factors for declining kidney function in these women, none of which come as a surprise given that we're talking about clogged and inflamed blood vessels. Specifically, diets higher in animal protein, animal fat, and cholesterol may be associated with microalbuminuria, failing kidneys. No such association was found for plant protein or plant fat. And microalbuminuria is a kind of canary in a coal mine, telling you there's something definitely wrong with your blood vessels. Microalbuminuria and modest decrements in kidney function are powerfully associated with subsequent overt kidney disease, cardiovascular risk, and all-cause mortality, meaning a shortened lifespan. In summary, diets lower in animal protein, animal fat, and cholesterol may be protective against this kidney damage.
Okay, we're going to stop there for a moment, and we're going to see if you have any questions about either of those videos or want to make more statements. And I'm kind of looking over the room, and it's kind of expanded a little bit, almost to 40 people, which is very nice to see that there's an interest in the population about kidney disease, Arun. Welcome.
Good evening. Yes, so I was one of those people who joined later. And so in a synopsis, what are you looking for in a kidney that's not working normally? More protein and what else?
So you notice that it's the protein in the urine, and
Right.
then look at the GFR, the filtration rate, GFR.
Okay,
We also can look at the BUN and creatinine levels. They would rise. Those are just a simple blood test. And the BUN and creatinine, from those values, you can calculate how the kidneys are filtering. And that's the GFR and should be above 60.
yeah,
And if you have like in the 40 range, 40 to 50, it's a stage 3 kidney disease, and dialysis is like, down in the 11 to 15. You're getting close to being on dialysis in that range.
I see. So your doctor will tell you if your kidneys have any issue, right?
Generally, your doctor tells you. I've had one patient who did not realize she had kidney disease. Maybe she didn't hear it among the other statements that were being made. It would be one of those things that, yes, your doctor should tell you if your kidney functions are not normal.
Okay. And so suppose if you haven't gone to your doctor, yet, but is there something that you can observe, notice in your regular day-to-day activities that you think maybe there's a problem with your kidneys?
No, generally, what you notice is that you either can't completely empty your bladder, or you run into the bathroom frequently throughout the day, and that could be from bladder outlet obstruction, from a prostate getting big in men, could be from urinary tract infections, which are more common in women. The volume of urine, it really is not going to, I think it would be hard for the average person to say, I'm looking at my urine or I'm having some difficulty. I think it's my kidneys are the problem. I think you need the blood test to kind of,
Yeah.
and you need a urine dipstick to make sure you don't have protein or blood in your urine. Scott, do you have anything else to add?
No, I was typing in the chat, answering a question in the chat.
All right. So, but specifically, some of the more common problems where people think they have kidney problems is if they are having pain with urination. That could be related to a kidney stone. It's usually intermittent, comes and goes. Men up 3-4 times a night, usually related to outlet obstruction. Women usually leaking urine. You could call it urinary incontinence because going through childbirth kind of stretches out the ligaments in the pelvic region, and it leads to a bladder that kind of drops down a bit, and it can leak urine intermittently. So those are the more frequent problems we have in terms of patient complaints. And very rarely, unless a patient comes in with nausea or vomiting or feeling really sick because they're building up toxic products in their system, they're getting poisoned literally, or they can't eliminate the poison, that's when the kidneys would be high up on my list of thinking they're having kidney problems.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, we're having fun so far. Any other questions from anyone? You may have noticed we have a few more videos. So we're going to go back to the videos for a moment, unless, let's see, there's a hand. Trouty, go ahead. Or did you keep your hand raised?
No. If the urine is dark, is that concerning?
If the urine is dark, I would say it's concerning. It gets dark if you're taking vitamin pills. It'll get really dark, or taking certain pills that cause your urine to get dark. But if you're taking your urine sample, looking at it away from pills that you might be taking by several hours or whatever, it oftentimes indicates that it's very concentrated and that you're likely a bit dehydrated. Dehydration is such a common problem in our culture. And so you want to try to get your urine to light yellow to almost clear. I don't tell people to drink 8 glasses of water any longer. I tell them drink enough water along with the other foods you take and get your urine to be light yellow to almost clear, and you'll be adequately hydrated. Now, this afternoon, we learned that there are vegetables and fruit that have high quantities of water in them. I was totally surprised when our med student showed us that radishes are, I think, 94% water. Asparagus is over 90% water. We would expect that from things like watermelon and I don't know, maybe tomatoes, but there are so many fruit and vegetables that have high quantities of water that if you're eating a lot of fruit and vegetables and you're getting a lot of water, you can get as much as 20% of your water from just the food you're eating, as opposed from having to drink water. Keep track of the color of your urine, though. Any other thoughts? Run.
Yes, let's see. I got distracted there, but maybe I'll come back. I will come back. Thank you.
Okay, come back. You got things to do.
Yeah. No, I'm still here, except I don't remember what I was going to ask. Because
all right, you'll remember it. It's okay. Hey, we've all been there. We can comprehend that. You know, you lose a train of thought.
Oh, and my wife just texted me, so I was dealing with that.
Yeah, we get it. Okay, David Cherie.
Hi. Yeah, you were talking about the water, and I'm seeing my urologist tomorrow. So I measured things the last 3 days, and over half of what comes out of me is from food or something, because less than half of what comes out is from what I'm drinking. I measured what I was drinking.
Yeah, so you're eating a lot of fruit and vegetable, which has a lot of water in it, more than you can imagine.
Yeah, it's over 50%.
Okay,
I
so
can tell you that.
all right, well, that's interesting. Okay, Arun, are you back here?
Yes, I remember the question. The question was, since fruits like apples have lots of sugar, is that something, I mean, does that cause your kidney function to go haywire, or it's not as bad as eating real sugar, processed and all?
So I don't know,
good.
Scott, do you want to talk
Sure.
about that?
Sure, yeah. So even though there might be a similar amount of sugar in an apple as maybe a small handful of gummy worms, for example, a tiny bit or gummy bears or something like that, they might have similar amounts of sugar. But what's 90% of the weight in the gummy bears? Sugar. What's 90% of the weight in the apple? Fiber, water, nutrients, all the micronutrients, phytonutrients. So the way your body breaks that down, it's like the analogy I give all the time. The apple's like a block of ice on your front lawn on a hot summer day. It's going to melt really slow. Whereas the gummy bears, that's going to be like a shaved ice thrown on the front lawn. It's going to melt really quick. And so those gummy bears cause inflammation in your body and would potentially harm your kidneys, but the apple would not, even though they might have similar amounts of sugar, because it's the package it comes in that's important, not the nutrient itself or the sugar itself. Does that make sense?
Sure. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so you can eat apples pretty much unlimited. I wouldn't live on an apple diet, but you can have a whole bunch of apples without doing harm to your body. But it's a good idea to have a multitude of different plant foods. So I'm not a proponent of eating the banana diet or the apple diet. It's the whole food plant diet, which is a combination of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, some nuts and seeds, and you'll be healthy.
Yeah, well, what I mean is, I know apple a day keeps doctor away, but how about 4 or 5?
4 or 5 are okay. If you have an apple tree that's in bloom and you're just like, hey, we're in season here, I really love these apples, you're going to be fine because you'll eat the apple and you'll eat a little less of something else in your life for that day or for that week.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Marcia first and then Trouty.
Okay, yeah. Speaking of gummy bears and vitamins, how about the vitamins that are made with gummy bears?
Not so good. They usually add sugar to those too.
Not that I like them, because I don't, but
get your vitamins from the food you eat. That's the way to go.
That is the way to go.
For sure.
Very cute though. We like that. All right, Trouty.
How do pears compare to apples?
I love pears and I love apples, and
Yeah,
they
but-
compare. They're healthy. Maybe apples, I don't know, they might have a few more antioxidants. They're pretty healthy. I'm not sure. Gregor uses apples as having a pretty high amount of antioxidant, particularly the skin.
How about the sugar in the pears?
Don't worry about it. Do not worry about sugar when it's in the natural fiber of the fruit. Only worry about it if you strip away the fiber from the food, the plant food.
Oh, that's where the vitamins are.
Yeah, that's the only time you need to worry about it.
Yeah, don't drink apple juice or pear juice. You want to eat the food itself. Yeah.
I get real McCoy.
Yeah, eat the real McCoy. I like that.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. All right, we're going to go on now. Go ahead and mute yourself, and then we're going to go on and share the screen to the next video. Is the protein source and acid test for kidneys and how to treat kidney stones with diet. These are the next 2 coming up here.
Chronic kidney disease is a major public health problem affecting about 1 in 8 Americans, increasing the risk of disease and death even among those with only mild decreases in kidney function. So low-cost, low-risk preventive strategies that anyone can do are needed to address the epidemic of kidney disease. Diet plays a role in kidney function decline. Specifically, diets higher in animal protein, animal fat, and cholesterol may be associated with protein leakage into the urine as a sign of kidney damage. And generally, diets high in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lower in meats and sweets may be protective against kidney function decline. In comparison to the diet eaten by our ancestors, not only are we eating more saturated fat, sugar, and salt, we're now eating an acid-producing diet, as opposed to a base-producing or alkaline diet. Ancestral human diets were largely plant-based, and as such, produced more base than acid. Dietary acid load is determined by the balance of acid-inducing food, which is rich in animal proteins such as meats, eggs, and cheese, offset by base-inducing food such as fruits and vegetables. In this national survey of 12,000 American adults, dietary acid load was associated with kidney damage among U.S. adults. Acid-inducing diets are believed to impact the kidney via tubular toxicity, damage to the tiny, delicate urine-making tubes in the kidney via increased ammonia production. See, ammonia is a base, so the kidney creates ammonia to buffer the acid from the food we eat. This is beneficial in the short term to get rid of the acid. However, in the long term, all that extra ammonia in our kidneys day in, day out can exert toxic effects. Our kidney function tends to decline progressively after our 30s, and by our 80s our kidney capacity may be down to half. Perhaps this so-called age-related decline in kidney function is a result of damage induced by a lifetime of ammonia overproduction. That's just one theory, though. The acidic pH may increase the production of free radicals and damage the kidney that way, and add to scarring. Not only is protein derived from plant foods accompanied by antioxidants to fight the free radicals, plant protein is less acid-forming in the first place, because it tends to have less sulfur-containing amino acids, one of the reasons plant foods tend to be less acid-forming than animal foods. It's because acid is produced by the sulfur in the protein, there's less in plant proteins. So, the more important determinant of the effect of dietary protein on kidney disease progression is the quality of the ingested protein. In other words, whether it induces acid production, like most animal protein, or base production, like most fruits and vegetables, rather than the quantity of protein ingested. Since American diets are largely acid-producing, because they're deficient in fruits and vegetables that contain large amounts of animal products, changing from a standard American diet to a vegan diet may improve acidosis in patients with chronic kidney disease. Under normal circumstances, a vegetarian diet is alkalizing, whereas a non-vegetarian diet leads to an acid load. This is true even of vegetarians that consume processed meat replacements, like veggie burgers. Plant-based diets have been prescribed for decades for those with chronic kidney failure. No animal fat, no cholesterol, less acid load, and helps lower blood pressure. And indeed, if you compare the kidney function of vegans to vegetarians to omnivores, the most plant-based diet was associated with improved parameters for the prevention of degenerative kidney decline.
You've heard the message over and over again about a more plant-based diet is healthier. There was Jean in this class who had a decrease in her kidney function, which maybe the plant-based diet you've been on prevented a significantly more decrease in your kidney function. But I have not actually seen people or seen a study that shows that more people are going to have less kidney function on a plant-based diet. Next, we're going to go to kidney stones, and then we'll open up again for some more questions.
Studies suggest that excessive animal protein consumption poses a risk of kidney stone formation, likely due to the acid load provided by the high content of sulfur-containing amino acids in animal protein, as I explored in my video on preventing kidney stones with diet. But what about treating kidney stones? Most stones are calcium oxalate, formed like rock candy when the urine becomes supersaturated. So doctors just assumed if they're made out of calcium, we just have to tell people to reduce their calcium intake. So that was like the dietary gospel for kidney stone sufferers until This study was published in the New England Journal of Medicine, pitting the two diets against one another, low calcium versus low animal protein and salt, and it was the restriction of animal protein and salt that provided greater protection, cutting the risk of having another kidney stone within 5 years in half. What about cutting down on oxalates, which are concentrated in certain vegetables? A recent study found that there was no increased risk of stone formation with higher vegetable intake. In fact, greater dietary intake of whole plant foods, fruits and vegetables, were each associated with a reduced risk independent of other known risk factors for kidney stones, meaning one may get additional benefits bulking up on plant foods in addition to just restricting animal foods. The reasons a reduction in animal protein helps is not only because it reduces the production of acids within the body. A reduction of animal protein should also limit the excretion of urate, uric acid crystals, that can act as a seed to form calcium stones, or it can create entire stones themselves. Uric acid stones are the second most common kidney stones after calcium. There's two ways to reduce uric acid levels in the urine: a reduction in animal protein ingestion, or drugs. And removing all meat can remove 93% of uric acid crystallization risk. Here's the risk of crystals forming eating the standard Western diet for 5 days, and then switching to a vegetarian diet. Leads to a 93% drop in risk within days. To minimize uric acid crystallization, the goal is to get the urine pH up to ideally as high as 6.8, so a number of alkalizing chemicals have been developed. We can naturally alkalize our urine up to the recommended 6.8 using purely dietary means, namely by removing all meat, which takes someone eating the standard Western diet up from an acid 5.95 right up to the target of 6.8 eating a vegetarian diet. You can inexpensively test your own diet with a little bathroom chemistry, for not all plant foods are alkalizing, and not all animal foods are equally acidifying. A so-called Lake score was developed, a load of acid to kidney score, which takes into account both the acid load of foods and their typical serving sizes, and can be used to help people modify their diet for the prevention of both uric acid and calcium kidney stones and other diseases. This is what they found. The single most acid-producing food was fish, like tuna, then pork, then poultry, then cheese, though milk and other dairy only rates down here. Then comes beef. Now, eggs are actually more acidic than beef, more acid-forming, but people tend to eat less eggs at a sitting, so they come in here. Some grains can be a little acid-forming, such as bread, rice, but not pasta, interestingly. Beans are significantly alkaline-forming, but not as much as fruits. And vegetables are the most alkaline-forming of all foods. Through dietary changes alone, we may be able to dissolve uric acid stones away completely, cure them. Now you see it, now you don't. No drugs, no surgery, just telling them to drink more water and modify their diet, such as restricting the intake of animal protein, and the kidney stone was gone. To summarize, here are the 5 types of kidney stones, and the most important things we can do diet-wise is to drink 10 to 12 cups of water a day, and reduce animal protein, reduce salt, eat more vegetables, and more vegetarian.
We're going to stop there. We just still have a couple more videos we can come back to, should we have the time, but we're going to see if you have any questions or comments. Were you surprised about being able to dissolve a kidney stone through diet? That may have surprised you a bit. So Yanli first, and then Arun, and then Trouty. So just unmute your microphone, Young Lee.
Oh, sorry.
Good.
This way. Okay. For my understanding, like the video said, we need to eat, should keep acid-based diet for my knowledge, but this video talk about the less acid, more based food. That's right. That means I eat vinegar a lot. That's healthy or not? I think vinegar is healthy, yeah.
So I got you're getting the point that eating more alkaline is healthier than eating more acid foods.
Yes.
And what were you surprised about?
I'm surprised why our body need more base, alkaline, than the acid.
Yeah, because our body is alkaline. So the pH is our normal blood pH is between 7.35 and 7.45. And so anything that's 7% and below is a strong acid, and then anything above 7 is alkaline. So our bodies are slightly alkaline. So if our acid based and which is one of the big regulatory avenues for keeping our blood pH in balance is our kidneys. And so if we're eating a lot of acid load foods, we're going to have to compensate for that to keep our body in the alkaline state, which it wants to be in.
Okay, I should, for me, like, should I keep like acid based diet? Yeah, like, but okay. Thank you. That means vinegar make more acid for the body if I eat too much vinegar.
Vinegar's an acid, but we're not generally eating very much of it, so it's not going to make a big difference. You get a tablespoon a day or so, like on your salad dressing or something. It's actually good for fighting body fat and weight loss, and has some healthy properties.
Okay, thank you.
But eating a bunch of antacids to make your body more alkaline would not be a good strategy, like sodium bicarbonate. Too much sodium in there, and you don't want to get your alkalinity that way. You want to get it from your food.
Okay, I think I should keep a acid-based balance, not eat too much acid, not too much.
Yeah, you can have a little acid. You just want to have the balance going a little bit more alkaline in your food choices.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Arun.
Okay, I have a two-part question. One of my neighbors has a Kangen water machine that they recommend drinking water, like with 9.5 pH. So what do you think of that? The Kangen water?
I'm familiar with it. We just were at the Health Expo, and I saw the machine, and I talked with the man who is selling them. And so I told him, this is intriguing. However, I want to see the studies that document the health benefits that you're claiming.
Okay.
He said he would send me the studies. Do you think I've received anything?
I haven't seen studies, but I just,
Yeah, so close your eyes, and what do you see?
water.
Nothing. There has been no studies that I've seen yet that document that machine is healthy, and maybe there is too much alkalinity produced by that. It would be better to get your alkalinity, I don't know how they chemically treat the water or what they're doing, but it's not getting it through your natural food sources. So I want to see some articles that really document benefit.
Okay, so the second part of the question is, I saw in the presentation we just saw, there was some mention of allopurinol, and I have a problem with gout, and the doctor had recommended I take allopurinol for the uric acid. And so how do I not depend on allopurinol for gout?
You stop just being the vegetarian and you become the totally whole food, plant-based person. You stop eating the eggs and the cheese and the animal products that have the sulfur extra sulfur in them. And I've had a few patients who have gotten off of allopurinol, lowered their uric acid into a normal range by eliminating every animal product.
Okay.
It's not necessary for your life. You may like it because of the taste, but if you want to get rid of the gout pills,
Yeah.
that's the best strategy.
And the other foods you often have to get rid of to lower uric acid into the ideal range is any white sugar, white flour, fruit juice, alcohol, because those things all also increase uric acid.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. I think just want to say my first attack of gout came when I had some kind of fish, seafood based, like something on spread on bread,
Yeah.
Yeah. But then a few years later, it started coming from regular things, I don't know what, because we don't eat meat and we don't drink milk, but some cheese here and usually no eggs anyways. But there must be some other things like sugar or something. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, give yourself a trial of totally whole food, plant-based, no cheese, no animal products, no mayonnaise, no butters, no anything that is an animal product, and do it for a month and then check your uric acid level, see what happens to it.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, who's next? It's Trouty and then Marcia.
Yeah, I was wondering how much is a cup? Dr. McGregor said 10 cups to 12 cups of water. How much is a cup?
8 ounces.
8 ounces of water.
Okay, that's a regular glass of water, 8 ounces.
240 cc's or mLs.
240 cubic centimeters. Okay. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. 8 to 10, that's an awful lot.
It is. It's a lot of water. You'll be flushing your kidneys and running to the bathroom a lot.
That's too much. I'm
Okay.
swimming.
Marcia, unmute yourself first. And Trouty, you can put your hand down.
My husband has gout and he had a stone, and I forget where it was, but it was, he said it was not a calcium stone, it was a gout stone. And I forget the name he called it, but this is years ago.
Uric acid stone.
Uric acid, okay. But he takes allopurinol, and he also takes metformin. He eats what I fix, which is all whole food, plant-based, but he eats also in the garage cheese curls and hamburgers and stuff. So, it just, so I mean, his A1C has gone up to 8.4. It was at 7, and it's slowly gone back up. And he doesn't seem to worry about it. So what are you going to do? He doesn't want to do it.
That's a frustration which we have all experienced, either with loved ones, could be children, it could be grandchildren, could be spouses, could be good friends. It's hard to convince people to lead a healthy lifestyle when they don't know any better and don't really want to hear anything different,
Yeah, well, I have friends that have arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis. They don't want to hear it. They'd rather take a pill. I think, God bless you. Go for it.
Yeah, well, that's how smoking used to be back in the 60s, but times are changing. And when there are enough of us who are we lead to the tipping point, maybe our culture will change.
Hopefully.
Arun.
Just a quick comment about the 10 cups of water. I find that if we drink water during, earlier part of the day, be it tea or whatever, But if I don't drink after 8 or 9 in the evening, I'm okay. I can sleep through the night without having to get up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of us are a little different on that aspect, but you learn what works for you. All right, now I just have a couple more videos to share. Maybe we'll do one. Maybe we'll, did I X out on that already? I guess I did. Huh. Why did I do that? Oh, that's awkward there. Let's see, I got that. I need to go to my backup and to this. And way too complicated a life here. Treating chronic kidney disease with food and how to treat heart failure and kidney failure with diet. Let's start with this one.
In the United States, approximately 1 in 3 adults aged 65 and older have chronic kidney disease. But the majority of patients with chronic kidney disease do not progress to the advanced stages because death precedes the progression to end-stage renal disease. Following about 1,000 folks 65 years or older with chronic kidney disease for about a decade, only a few had to go on dialysis because most had to go underground. The scariest thing for many kidney patients is the fear of dialysis, but they may be 13 times more likely to die than dialysis, with deaths from heart disease killing more than nearly all other causes combined. Decreasing kidney function can just set one up for heart attacks, strokes, and death. That's why it's critical that any diet chosen to help the kidneys must also help the heart, and a plant-based diet fits the bill, providing protection against kidney cancer and kidney stones and kidney inflammation and acidosis, as well as heart disease. Namely, blood pressure control may be favored by the reduction of sodium intake and the vegetarian nature of the diet, which is very important also for lowering serum cholesterol, which may not only help the heart, but the kidneys themselves. All the way back in 1858, Virchow, the father of modern pathology, was the first to describe the fatty degeneration of the kidney. In 1982, this idea of lipid nephrotoxicity was formalized, the possibility that fat and cholesterol in the bloodstream could be toxic to the kidneys directly, based on data like this, showing plugs of fat literally kind of clogging up the works in autopsied kidneys. Since the notion was put forth, it has gained momentum. It appears high cholesterol and fat in the blood may accelerate progression of chronic kidney disease through direct toxic effects on the kidney cells themselves. Given the connection between cholesterol and kidney decline, the use of cholesterol-lowering statin drugs has been recommended to slow the progression of kidney disease. Of course, serious adverse effects on muscle and liver must be kept in mind. That's why plant-based diets could offer the best of both worlds, protecting the heart and the kidneys without drug side effects. The two potential drawbacks are the amount of phosphorus and potassium in plant foods, which ailing kidneys can sometimes have a problem getting rid of. But it turns out that the phosphorus in meat is absorbed at about twice the rate, not to mention the phosphate additives that are injected into meat. So eating vegetarian can significantly lower phosphorus levels in the blood. The concern about potassium is largely theoretical, since the alkalizing effects of plant foods help the body excrete potassium, but not theoretical for those on dialysis or with end-stage disease who need to be followed closely by a dietitian kidney specialist. Special protein-restricted vegan diets have been used successfully to slow or stop the progression of kidney failure. Here is the declining kidney function of 8 diabetics for 1 to 2 years before switching to a plant-based diet, which appeared to stop the inexorable decline in most of the patients, leading the researchers to proclaim it is the treatment of choice for diabetic kidney failure. It may also help delay dialysis by 1 to 2 years, and after kidney transplant may improve the survival of the kidney and improve the survival of the patient. Most of the papers, though, are just pilot feasibility studies. It doesn't matter if it's effective if we can't get people to stick to the diet. But while we're waiting for more definitive studies, existing data support offering these kinds of plant-based diets as an option to all patients with advanced or progressive chronic kidney disease. Even if the effects of such diets on the progression of kidney failure are still debatable, the unquestionably favorable effects of beneficial favorable effects on plant-based diets and some of the most deleterious cardiovascular and metabolic disorders usually associated with renal failure, like hypertension, diabetes, provide rationale for recommending a predominance of plant proteins for patients with failing kidneys. Yet, diet is still underutilized, in part because some people find changing their diet is difficult. Yet we know foods rich in animal protein lead to metabolic acidosis. Our diets are largely acid-producing because they are deficient in fruits and vegetables and contain large amounts of animal products. And so what did doctors do? They gave people baking soda. Instead of treating the cause, the dietary acid load, from too many animal products, too few fruits and vegetables, they treated the consequence by saying, oh, too much acid? Well, we'll just give you some base, sodium bicarbonate. And it works. Neutralization of dietary acid with sodium bicarb decreases kidney failure and slows kidney function decline, but sodium bicarbonate, baking soda, has sodium, so doctors may just be adding another problem. Now, if patients are not going to cut back on animal products, at least they should be eating more fruits and vegetables. And so they tried that, and look, it worked too, and with it doing so without leading to too much potassium in the blood. And it may work even better, as fruits and vegetables have the additional advantage of helping to lower blood pressure. This study is important because it illustrates a very simple and safe way to treat metabolic acidosis, fruits and vegetables. So the key to halting the progression of chronic kidney disease might be in the produce market, not in the pharmacy.
Okay. I think that's good. The last video was just about congestive heart failure. Again, treating with a whole food plant-based diet, it's going to help congestive heart failure and kidney disease and other things. Yes, Trouty.
I have a question about the what's it called? I can't think of it. The calcium, yes. If you take calcium without anything else, does it clog up your arteries?
Calcium can kind of make your blood a little thicker and leading to heart attack and stroke risk. So taking calcium by itself and not getting it from the greens and beans and from your regular foods like soy or tempeh, then that's very problematic.
What about if you take K2 and boron with it? Does it have
still, it still causes your blood to thicken up, and you have an increased rate of heart attack and strokes. Dr. Greger has a couple of good videos on does calcium supplements work and are they safe?
Thank you, because I will not order any more calcium. No.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go back to the gallery view and see if there is anybody who has any questions or anything they'd like to comment. We haven't heard from Lisa yet, so we need to hear from Lisa about her book club and whatever else she wants to say.
Yeah, so actually yesterday I got to do a workshop with students from the Lebanon campus and the Pomona campus down here. And so I got to teach them about motivational interviewing and how to do the things that we know we're supposed to do, and then how to get your patients to also do that as well. So it was a lot of fun, and I think we'll try to do a part 2 of that in a couple of months as well. And then tonight I actually got to go to a book signing at school for a doctor that came to Western in Pomona and then is also an attorney. And he wrote this book of, it's called Sleep Reimagined. So I don't know a lot about sleep, so it was interesting to learn a little bit more from him and realize how important it is for us and what we can do to make sure we have enough sleep and quality sleep. And then on Thursday, we have our book club, which I'm hoping a good amount of students will be coming to as well. And a lot of you, hopefully, and that'll be for the Blue Zones. And then we're going to meet again in November for the second half of the book. What else? If you're feeling like you need some extra support in transitioning your diet or making some lifestyle changes, I'm available. I am going to put my email in the chat. It's also in Scott's weekly newsletter, and then we can set up a time to meet and see how I can help you. And then we have the Lifestyle Medicine Conference this weekend. So I'm excited for that too.
So
I'll see you there, Lisa.
With Scott is going to see you there. And I think Kristen is in the room today.
Yeah,
She's
I'll be there. Yeah. And Lisa, you're going to be there? That's great.
Yes, very excited.
So thanks for sharing that. And next Tuesday, what are we doing in class, Scott?
Covering fasting.
So we're covering fasting, and I am working with another fourth-year medical student, Kevin, who has quite a wealth of knowledge on that topic. And I'm going to try to convince him to do a segment next week as we cover that topic together. And then perhaps, Lisa, you have something that you might share if you're free next week. I don't know what service you're on, but
she'll be at the conference. We have
on Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday night. So that's why I won't be there. And Kristen won't be there because.
All right. Well, we'll find another time. All right. Enjoy it, and it's great that you're all going, and that you're all in this classroom together right now. It's pretty amazing when you think about it.
Thank you for this class. I appreciate it. And if anybody has any insight or some suggestions for me, I'd love to hear them. Like I said, I love being on a whole foods plant-based diet. I believe it's the way to go. I just wish my kidney knew that, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me know how I can maybe improve. I'm on a low potassium diet currently.
Are you able to get access to the chat room?
The chat down here, yeah. Like here.
Yeah, click on the chat because Lisa Chick is writing in her contact. You can send her a little note, and that will give her a topic to work on here.
Thank you.
You're welcome. She'll be at the conference, so maybe busy there, but maybe she'll be able to talk with someone about this issue with one of the experts who's talking at the Lifestyle Medicine Conference. Just a thought.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
You could also do the free health coaching with her too. Sign up for that through the class newsletter. Yeah, we're going to a conference in Denver, Colorado. It's the American College of Lifestyle Medicine annual conference is what me and Kristen and Lisa are all going to next week. It goes Sunday through Wednesday.
Okay, any further questions? We all good for tonight? I'm just kind of gonna do a quick scan around the room at the gallery. Jamie, are you saying goodbye? Yeah, so thanks for coming. Same for Rob. And we're happy.
Rob had something to say, maybe.
No, he has a question.
Oh, okay, Rob, thank
I didn't
you.
want to light off a flare and blow out your monitor or anything like that. So I thought about putting this in earlier, but I was getting into the video, so I left it till the last, of course. But is there a book about transitioning, like a cookbook or something? I go up and down. I'm probably only about 15% converted. I would love to be farther along. I have the tiniest kitchen in the world. And anybody that thinks theirs is tiny, I go right up against you and prove that you aren't. But, and the plant-based seems to take a lot of prep space and storage space. So I'd like to find a transitioning cookbook, step by step, or easy ways to start. Doing more
right up Lisa's avenue. You might, if you want to sign up to do a health coaching with her. Also, if you checked out our website with the introduction classes, the meal preparation and planning classes, they're all recorded earlier in the year.
Okay.
Do you get the newsletter on Sunday mornings from me?
I don't know. I thought I did, but maybe not.
I'm sharing my screen here. Let me show you. So if you're not signed up, go to livelifestylemedicine.com. This is the class website. And then you can subscribe right here. Click right here and say subscribe to the weekly class newsletter. And then you'll get a welcome newsletter. And then every Sunday morning, you should receive the weekly class newsletter. And then if you're not familiar with the website, scroll down about halfway down this homepage here and watch this recording of me. It's a 20-minute recording of gives you a tour of the website tutorial. And I go through all the resources that are available on the website. And then just to give you a quick look, if you click on class archives right here, and then you go to 2023 classes, that's this year, and you can go all the way back to the beginning of this year and watch the introduction classes, the meal preparation and planning classes, and they're just all recorded there. So, and then you'll even see there's under the resources section, links to books and cookbooks. So here's a whole bunch of different plant-based cookbooks that are here that we recommend.
Okay, there you go. I've got a couple of those.
But if you feel like you need just, if that seems too overwhelming at first, you could sign up to do some health coaching with Lisa, and she can kind of lead you through some small steps you can take.
Okay. Well, by you just scrolling around a little bit there, it shows to me I should have been poking around further than I did, opening out down the drop-down menus. So, okay. Thank you.
The value in having a health coach that you touch bases with intermittently. Like we said before, if you were going to learn to play the piano or learn to play tennis, don't be reluctant to ask for help like you did tonight. Like, you need some help with it. There is help available. If Lisa gets overbooked, she'll let us know and we'll find another medical student who will help you, or I'll help you. And so there is always resources and it's free for you.
Okay, because I like tofu, but I haven't had any in a while, for example.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, everybody. I think we're good. And we're going to let you go. Hope you have a wonderful evening. Enjoy the conference to all three of you and whoever else might be going. And we're grateful to all of you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Charlie.
You're welcome. Good night.
Have a good evening.
Thanks.
Yep. It was a fun